All right, so welcome again to our International Undergraduate Offer Holder webinar at Koç University. My name is Melissa Abache. I'm the Director of International Student Recruitment here at the university. I have been at the university for 8 years now. I'm not Turkish, I'm originally from Venezuela. That's part of the flag that you see on the back there. But I feel like a Turkish person now. It has been a very welcoming country. And I hope you also will have that experience if you're coming from outside of Turkey once you join our university. On the screen, you see our website, which I think most of you are familiar with already. And you can also see our team email address, which you can contact us anytime with any questions after today's presentation, and of course, anytime before you arrive at the university. I have a team as well that they help us with all of the marketing and recruitment activities. And, as a team, we're responsible for helping you guys have a smooth transition between your application process and then your enrollment as new students at the university. We are located in the Rectorate building. It's the first building that you see once you reach our campus, and we're always available to have a chat and have a cup of tea whenever you have any questions or any issues. So the housekeeping that I mentioned very briefly, we are recording the webinar, so you will receive the webinar video link that we will post it on YouTube after today. That will take a day, so you should expect to receive it by Monday. You can type your questions on the Q&A section, so I kindly ask you to put all of your questions in one place so that it's easier for me to go through them and answer them, and also ask some of our panelists today to answer those questions. If you have something very individual related to your situation regarding, for example, a specific document or something like that, I kindly ask you not to type it on the Q&A, but to email us, and we will reply back. Today's Friday, so we will reply back on Monday, if that's okay. So what is the plan for today, right? We have a couple of hours to spend together. This is going to be the first of several activities that you will start to do with Koç University. So first, I'm going to give you some practical information about accepting your offer if you have not done that yet, how to pay your tuition for the university for your first semester, how to then complete your registration as a new student. We will talk about dormitories. I know that that's a big kind of question in a lot of your minds and your parents' minds. We will talk briefly about vaccinations and the English placement exam. So those are, of course, there are other topics, but these are the ones that usually it's useful to start with in your journey before you arrive on campus. Then we have invited our colleagues from the International Community Services Office, ICO, Mr. Sikri Mert Demircan and Ms. Begum Çiçek. There, I see Begum is already here, and they're gonna, tell you a little bit about what they do as an office and answer your questions regarding visas, about the student residence permit, and then they will talk about something very exciting, which is the international orientation, the international buddy program, and a specific application that we are using for the first time this year to help you make friends and really connect and find out some very practical information before you arrive in September to our campus. Finally, the best, I think, part of today really is we will have a chance to talk to some of our current international undergraduate students who have very kindly accepted to meet with you guys and answer your questions. We have students from every year of their program, from different majors, different countries. So I'm very excited and very thankful to them for coming today. And finally, we will have about half an hour to answer questions related to everything that you have heard before, okay? So let's get started. Just very briefly, you should have received with your acceptance letter some information already guiding you to our main registration website, which is the address that you can see at the bottom of the screen. In there, there's a specific page called International Journey, which I think helps you to understand when things are happening between June, where we are, and September when you come to classes. So I invite you to please make sure that you check that website specifically. Your first semester, of course, this is a big transition for you from high school to university. And there's a lot of information that you're going to be receiving in the next few months. But of course, you will also have all of the support possible from different offices and units at the university. Just to give you, the bigger context, the first day of classes, it's shown on the academic calendar, which is on our registrar's website. The current planned date is that the first day of classes will be 26th of September. So we're talking, in the second half of September. However, that date may change because we are subject to what the Higher Education Council of Turkey says for all Turkish universities. And based on that, then we will maintain or change that first day of classes date and the enrollment and other dates. That's when you start classes, 26th of September. And then the fall semester finishes in terms of having done finals and everything on the 18th of January. And then there is a semester break between the 19th of January and the 12th of February. Those are some of the key dates that you need to know. The dates that you will see on our academic calendar for enrollment that says 20 to 23rd of September, again, those are tentative dates and they apply both to you, but mostly to all of the Turkish students who are going to enroll after having, they have already taken their university entrance exam and after they have completed their selection of universities and programs that they want to be placed in. The picture that you see on the screen, it's a picture that it's very dear to me. This is a group of students that started 4 years ago. They're all engineering or science, basic science students that they came here with a specific scholarship called the Abdullah Al-Gurer Foundation scholarship. And pretty much all of them are graduating tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have our 2022 graduation ceremony here on campus. Everything is being prepared for that now. And I'm very proud to say that one of the students in that picture, the guy that you see with a white shirt, he's going to be our valedictorian at tomorrow's ceremony. He's going to be the first international student valedictorian in the history of our university. So we're very, very excited about that, very proud about him. And I hope some of you who are joining us today that I will put your picture here of when you first started at Koç University, and you will also be an example for future students. So now let's move on to practical matters. First of all, some of you may have already accepted your admission offer, but some of you may have not that yet and are waiting to have more information or are considering other offers. So on a very practical note, we just wanted to show you simply how you do that and when is the deadline. So the deadline to accept your offer is the 1st of August. So you still have time to decide. However, I put an asterisk there because for those of you who have been accepted to our medicine program, you should make a decision much, much sooner than that. Sooner meaning before 1st of July, ideally, because we have a very limited quota for our medical school. So every time that you will see on the screen that I have put an asterisk, it means that there is an observation there. In this case, it refers to medicine students. If you're not a medicine student, you can relax. You still have time to decide in terms of accepting your offer until the 1st of August. So you still have, let's say, a month and a few days. How to do that? It's fairly easy. You are already familiar with our online application system. So you log in with your username and password. Then you can find your offers on the left-hand side, and you're just going to click on OK, continue to step 2. It's a fairly easy process. And then you mark your decision. So if you decide to join us, which I hope you will, then you mark, I have decided to attend your institution, and then you click on the Save red button. After that, that's it. You will receive an automatic email that confirms that we have received your offer acceptance. And then what happens after that is that our team basically needs to generate an ID number, and I will talk about this, and issue your first semester tuition payment to then continue with every other step after that. So now, how do you pay your first semester tuition? So let's say you have accepted your offer, and now you're waiting to see what happens, right? So you will receive your Koç University ID number and a pro forma invoice. Some of you maybe currently living in countries where in order to pay or to make an international payment, you need not a pro forma invoice, but an actual official invoice. That is possible. You simply need to email our student accounting team in our finance directorate. I have put their email address on the screen so that if that's the case, you can email them to request this after you have received your ID number. That ID number is very important because that's what you're going to need to then enter our Koç University student information system. And in every system, that's the ID number that you will be using. So in terms of paying the first semester tuition, you have until the 30th of August to complete that payment. If you are going to pay your tuition in dollars because your citizenship is not Turkish, then you can do that through a bank wire transfer. And on the registration website that I showed earlier, you will be able to see the details of our USD bank account and what details you need to include to make sure that our student accounting team is able to identify your payment and then mark and do all of the procedures that they need to do internally on the systems to make you a student who is ready for registration. If you are paying in Turkish lira because you have Turkish citizenship, then you can do that through online banking through some of the contracted banks, and all of the instructions about this are also on our registration website. And finally, you can also do that through an online credit card payment, also if you're paying in dollars. So after you have completed your payment before the 30th of August, you need to upload your payment receipt if you did a wire transfer, not if you are paying in Turkey, in Turkish lira. You need to upload your payment receipt to your online application. There is a section in the checklist called tuition payment receipt. You upload that as a PDF document so that the bank deposit or the bank transfer copy, and you mark the option that applies to you. After that, approximately a week later, after our student accounting checks, if it may take a few more days than a week, so please bear that in mind. Then they check if the amount has been received and if it's correct, and then they inform our registrars team so that they can mark you as ready for registration. And you will also be able to see on your online application that your status has now changed to ready for registration. In terms of tuition, I guess most of you know this for those of you who are paying in US dollars. So for international students, your tuition is $19,500. That's for the whole academic year. And for those of you in medicine, it's $26,500. The tuition for international students who have Turkish citizenship and who are eligible to pay in Turkish lira is going to be published next Monday. So we just have to wait a couple more days. So thank you. And that will be published on our website. And you will also, if you have already accepted your offer, you will then receive your pro forma invoice for the first semester amount in Turkish lira. Some of you have also been awarded scholarships. So I just wanted to do a very quick reminder about how these scholarships are going to work. So as a reminder, these are only covering tuition, so they do not cover dormitories or other expenses. They are for the duration of your studies for 4 years, for example, if you're not in medicine, and you do not need to be applying for them again every year. They stay with you for the duration of your studies. And also if you choose to do a double major, for example, then that scholarship stays with you. If you decide to transfer from the program that you have been accepted to a different program after the first year, then that scholarship, in order to remain the same, will need to be approved by the dean of the program that you're applying to. One thing that I need to really stress today is if you have been awarded, for example, a 25% scholarship or a 50% scholarship, congratulations, first of all, because that means that you were really an outstanding candidate. However, that scholarship percentage cannot be increased later once you're a student at the university. If you happen, I hope not, but if you happen to fall into very hard financial hardship because of family situation or some other situation, we do have need-based scholarships, but these are quite limited. So you shouldn't count on those in order to continue your studies after the first year. So this is something that you really need to discuss carefully with your family, whether you will be able to afford your university tuition for the 4 years of education or 6 years in medicine based on your scholarship amount. Okay. So let's say that you have accepted your offer, you have now completed your first semester tuition payment, and now your status is showing as ready for registration. So how do you complete your registration? First of all, you need to wait a bit for that. There's no rush. You're all admitted students who have ready for registration status will receive their ID, their Koç University ID password, and your Koç University email address on the 1st of September. So there's still some time to wait for that. Once you receive that, then again, on the registration website, you will be able to see, let me go to the next screen, you will be able to see the buttons where you access the matriculation form. This is a form where you put mostly your contact details, such as telephone number, address, your passport number, and other information. And you will also be able to upload to the registration form the required documents for registration, and I will show you next what those are. Before that, you cannot complete that registration form or matriculation form. All of that will open for international undergraduate students from the 1st of September onwards. What are the required documents? So you may have already seen this on the website, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it. What takes time here, or some of the questions that we receive is, for example, if you will be receiving your official diploma or graduation document after the 1st of September, that's okay. You do not need to complete everything on the 1st of September. You will have time to do that. What takes the most time out of all of these documents that you see here is the equivalent certificate letter. And I will talk about what that is, because that does take some time. However, there is some flexibility in that if you're not able to upload it before the first day of classes, our registrar's office may ask you to sign a commitment letter to bring it as soon as possible, and because they need to have it on file for every student during the first semester. For those of you who have Turkish citizenship by birth, you should have already or will be receiving an email from our team giving you some information and instructions on what you need to do to renounce your citizenship and then obtain your blue card or Mavi card to be eligible to enroll as an international student in a Turkish university. All of this, again, it's on a registration website. So the Denklik, you may have or may not have heard about this. This is a bit of a silly procedure within the Turkish education system compared to other countries. However, it is what it is. How do you obtain that Denklik or high school equivalency certificate letter? There's two ways. One is that you can obtain it from your local Turkish embassy or consulate in the country that you live. So first you need to check and contact them to ask if they are able to provide that equivalency letter service. If they say that they don't, then you need to wait. And once you're in Istanbul, then you apply for it at the Ministry of Education at their directorate office in Istanbul. There's first an application form that it's online where you also get an appointment. And I have put the information here. This is also on a registration website, so don't worry. And once you get your appointment date, you then will attend the appointment with the required documents that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. The most important step, though, is that as soon as you receive that document, you need to bring it to our registrar's office so that they can then include it in your file. Otherwise, they will be sending you emails regularly to remind you to bring that document as soon as you receive it. So I hope I'm keeping to good time. I think I am. So now let's talk about dormitories. How do you apply for a dormitory room? Just as a reminder, we do have two main dormitory areas at the university. One is located in our main campus. So that's the dorm location that is closest to the academic buildings and other administrative buildings. And then we have the West Campus dormitory area. However, it's 7 minutes by shuttle to our campus, and there are regular shuttle services during the semester. In terms of the room types that are available, you have single, triple, quadruple, and quintuple, or 5 people. These are very hard word to pronounce. 5-person rooms. And some of them have en-suite, so a bathroom within the room, and some of them you share the bathroom with the other rooms that are in the same floor. There's also shared kitchens, lounges, and laundry rooms. You can see on the dormitory website all of the services that are provided, and you can see a virtual 360-degree tour with pictures so that you can see the different room types and what type of furniture is included in the rooms. The dormitory fees are paid in one installment for the whole academic year. So you don't pay first for the fall semester and then for the spring semester. You pay for the whole year. And the dormitory fees for the new academic year are not published yet. They will be published in July 2022. As soon as they're published, we will also email you from our study@ku.edu.tr email address to let you know that they have now been published. But you can also regularly check in early and mid-July the dormitory website to find out more information. So how do you apply? As I said, you check the dormitory room types and the fees for each type of room in July. And once you have decided which type of room you would like to stay in, after that, you will also receive a pro forma invoice from our team, which is for the pre-enrollment and deposit fee. This amount is 6,000 Turkish lira. It's paid only in Turkish lira, even if you're sending the money from outside of Turkey. And you need to pay that before the 10th of August. You pay that with a credit card online in the same way that you pay the application fee when you were first applying for admission. Then in early August, so that first week of August, you need to be checking your email regularly, because that's when the dormitory team is going to also open the housing application form on the system, on our Koç University student information system. They're going to announce when they're going to close the application period for the dormitory. So make sure that you submit your form before that closing date. Otherwise, there's not much that we can do to help, okay? And then after that, after you fill out the form, then they will indicate if you have been assigned a room or not, and which room you have been assigned out of the priorities that you listed. So you may indicate that your first priority is, for example, a triple room in the main campus. That's your first priority, but you should indicate, your second, third, fourth. I think they ask you for up to 10 types of rooms that you would be okay in, and they try, of course, to always allocate you to the highest priority possible. In terms of single rooms, we get often asked this question. Single rooms are very limited. From last year and this year, it's going to be the same. So you should consider, other types of rooms besides single rooms, because there is very limited capacity, and you may not get that single room. Then they're also going to announce what documents are needed for you to do your check-in. All of this will be published on that website. One of the things that I will talk about is vaccinations, because as of today, for our students to stay in dormitory rooms, they need to be fully vaccinated. That may change by September, but we don't know yet. So this is why it's important to take precautions, so that if you want to stay in the dorms, that you are fully vaccinated as much as possible. We know that for some students in some countries, they may not be able to have been vaccinated yet, because if you're underage or some specific national policy. So this is something that you need to start discussing early on, in case you do want to stay. It may be that by September that is no longer required, but it's not clear yet. We're also waiting for more guidance from the national level, from the Ministry of Health and other bodies that we have to listen to and guide our policy in that way. In terms of any queries regarding dormitories, you can contact the team, the housing team, which you can see their email on the screen. There is a specific team member who is responsible for communication with international students. His name is Evren Taniel. So you can ask any questions regarding this. Please make sure that the questions you ask are things that you may not have found the information for on the website, because they do have a lot of information on the website already. They have frequently asked questions. They have the regulations and guidelines. So please make sure you check that before you contact the team, because they're very busy, especially right now in the summer months. As I mentioned, yes, so as of now, if you want to stay in our student dormitories, you should be fully vaccinated, which means 2 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine, whichever one you have. And there's no specific types of vaccines that are allowed or not allowed, plus a booster. So in theory, 3 doses. So if you have not had your booster dose, so that 3rd dose, the housing team as well as your COVID task force, what they have indicated is that they may ask you to sign a commitment letter to receive it as soon as possible. And once you do, to provide the documentation for that 3rd dose to the health center on campus. There's more information about this that is going to be updated by our international community office team, and they're here as well. They're going to talk about this in a bit. And that's the information we have for now. Finally, this is the last part from me. Then some of you are asking us also about the English placement and the English proficiency test. So let's talk about this. Koç University, we have an English language center, which provides English language classes as a preparatory year for the Turkish students who enter through the national university exam and who do not speak English to a high proficiency level yet. So as part of their activities, they organize every semester an English proficiency exam, an internal English proficiency exam. It's called KUEPE, which you see at the top of the screen. But for new students who join every fall, Turkish and international, then they also organize, first of all, the English placement test. Placement, what it means is that the test is going to help them understand if you are at beginners, intermediate, or advanced level, and sub-levels within that. If you did not include a valid English proficiency test score, such as TOEFL or Pearson or Cambridge, in your online application, or your citizenship exempts you from having to provide an English proficiency exam, then if you did not include that, then you will receive an invitation via email from the English Language Center to attend in September first the English placement test, and a couple of days later the English proficiency exam. So it's 2 exams that happen one right after the other, but it's only if you didn't include an English proficiency test. If you included one, then you're not going to be contacted by ELC to take the test. So with your, the one that you included in your application form, then that will be enough. The test is free of charge. This year, it's going to be in person. The past 2 years, it was online, but this year we're back to in-person test administration. And the dates have not been finalized yet, but it's likely to be in the first 2 weeks of September. So in terms of planning your flights, if you're coming from outside of Turkey, in terms of dates, you should think that you should be arriving here ideally in the first week of September. Of course, please keep an eye out on your emails and on the website. You can see the English Language Center website on the screen. If you want to know what the test is like, what sections, how many questions, how much time do you have, what is measured, all of that information is on the elc.ku.edu.tr website. So please check that. And there's also information about the English placement test and more about the services that they provide. Okay, so now I'm very happy to invite 2 of our panelists from our International Community Services Office to join us. Today, it's a team of 3 people that are part of our Office of International Programs. And today we have Mr. Sikri Mert Demircan and Mrs. Begum Çiçek joining us from the International Community Services Office. So I'm gonna ask them to kindly open their microphones and their cameras to say hello and then introduce themselves. We have a couple of slides about the services that you provide. There's a lot of things that they do for our international students, faculty, and staff, and also visiting researchers. But today we're focusing on you guys, which are new undergraduate international students. So welcome, Mert and Begum.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Melissa. First of all, thank you. And I just want to let you know that I cannot open my camera.
Yes,
because it's forbidden.
Hello.
Okay, no problem.
No, you need to let us turn that on.
That's right.
That's why. Sorry.
Okay, that's why. That makes sense. Let me make you co-host right away. Okay, perfect. Now you should be able to do that.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
This is Matt from International Community Services Office, and we are here with my colleague, Begum Çiçek. And yeah, let me introduce ourselves very briefly. So we are the International Community Services at Koç University, and we are your point of contact regarding your visa procedures, your residence permit application processes, your social integration processes. So in a nutshell, we can say that we are your point of contact for your bureaucratic processes and also social processes. So we are here to facilitate your transition process to your new life in Istanbul and your new life on campus. So what we do is we are assisting you on your visa application processes with the visa application support letters. We contact you prior to your arrival and we inform you. And actually, I missed introducing ourselves first. Sorry, Begum. I'm sorry. Do you want to introduce yourself?
It's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Begum Çiçek, and as Mert mentioned, I'm also a member of the International Community Services Office. You will be seeing more of us in the future anyway, so it's very nice to meet you already.
Exactly. Thank you, Begum. So I can say that we covered three main topics for you. First of all, the immigration procedures. So some of you need to get visa to enter Turkey, and some of you don't need visa. They just can get the electronic visa, or without visa they can enter. So those who need to get a visa, they need to apply at the Turkish consulate or embassy in their countries. So in that sense, it's your responsibility to apply and track your application. But what we can do is we can provide you a visa support letter, which can expedite the process for you. And after your arrival, we will be assisting you with your residence permit application process. Because everyone who is studying in Turkey for longer than 3 months must get a residence permit. Residence permit is a legal permission card showing that you have the legal right, official right to stay in and study in Turkey. So you will be applying for a residence permit after your arrival. And I don't know if there is any student right now who are below 18, but there are two specific documents that you need to bring while you are coming to Turkey, and you can find those two documents and our instructions on them on our website, ico.ku.edu.tr. Under the resources menu, we have the pre-arrival resources. There you can find the documents. So if you are below 18, please make sure that you check out our website. So the second main topic that we deal with is your integration process. So to do so, we develop resources for you, and we provide those resources on our website. Under the resources menu, we have many topics that you are interested in, from the driving in Turkey to opening a bank account. We provide all the instructions there on our website. Can you go back, Melissa?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. And under the resource menu, we have many instructions. So our website is very beneficial and useful for you. And under the pre-arrival resources, you will find our newcomers guide. We have to update it actually, and before September, of course, during August, it will be updated version on our website. But for now, still, you can have a look at it so that you will have a picture of like what it's like to live in Turkey and what you need to take care before and after you arrive. And the third category that we work with is we create some intercultural and multicultural projects for you to facilitate your transition process to campus life. What we mean is that we create some projects and programs for you to familiarize with the local culture, with the local students. For instance, in the fall semester, hopefully you will be here, we will have a Koç Guides program. And in that program, there will be some local students who will be leading some events and activities. And we will make sure that every week you will find something to do with the local students so that you will know what you are going to do with whom and when. So there will be something to do for you each week in the fall semester. We will have Turkish online Turkish practice hours, but for the fall semester it will be a Turkish coffee hour. If you are interested in learning and practicing Turkish, we will have that program so that you can meet with the local students and also the faculty members, the staff members, let's say the locals, so that you can practice your Turkish conversation skills with them. So it's always fun. We play games there. There are some Kahoot stuff. So it's always fun. That kind of intercultural projects we take care of. And also we will have a buddy program for you in the fall semester. And we are planning to have like a buddy for 3 or 4 students. So we will make sure that you will have a buddy. Begum will talk about it now. And so that you will find your way very easy at Koç University once you're here. So for now, it's under assessment. We are selecting the buddies. So Begum, we can continue now.
Sure. So as you can see on the screen, we have an orientation program prepared for you. On the 4th of August, for the first time, we're planning to have a virtual orientation day prior to your arrival. We're planning to have this to kind of eliminate many of the questions that you may have before you arrive. So we will be giving a lot of information on how you can enter the country, and we're hoping to answer many of your questions there. And then we will have a on-campus and virtual orientation days in September as well. So on the 15th and 16th, there will be a general virtual orientation where you will get to hear from your faculties, your departments, also administrative departments at Koç University. And on the 22nd and 23rd, we will be meeting with you in person and having on-campus events where you get to see a lot of the student clubs with a campus tour, and you will get to meet your buddies. So as Mert already mentioned briefly, this year we're launching the International Student Buddy Program. So this will be the first time that we're doing it, and you will be matched with current international students and also some Turkish students at Koç University who will be guiding you throughout your first semester here at Koç. So they will be helping you with many of these procedures, but they're also here to be your friend and to kind of hold your hand through this process too, since they've all been there and they've all experienced many of the things that you will too. So we have a huge group of students that applied that are very excited to get to meet you. And once we have selected our buddies, they will also be joining us on the virtual orientation day that we will have on the 4th of August. So you will get to meet them there as well. And then beginning of September onwards, we will be matching you with a buddy.
Thank you very much, Begum. So we're really, really excited about this program because we know there are current international students. There's been a big demand to join and to help future students.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that we're looking forward to seeing live and for you guys to participate in. However, that's not the only way to make friends and integrate yourself into the community and into life in Istanbul in general. There are other ways. I just saw in the chat that someone is inviting you guys to a new Instagram account for the Koç class of 26. Amazing. That's from Mihail. Thank you, Mihail, for creating that. That's a wonderful idea. In parallel to that, though, I would invite all of you to basically after today, after you close the webinar, that we finish the webinar, that you go to Going Connect. So Going is an app that is used by several universities, especially in Europe. And it's to help both exchange and new international students to make new friends and start to ask questions, join groups and hobby groups and interest groups before they arrive at the university. So it's a very, very useful tool so that, you know, you don't feel alone when you first come. I remember I joined university not in the normal semester, but a semester later, and I didn't know anyone. And I just met my best friend randomly in the cafeteria, but hopefully, it shouldn't be like this for you guys. And we are doing everything we can to, give you a pleasant transition in your first semester. So please go to Going Connect. We have also sent you already an email about this, but you will receive a specific short email with the link on how to register and the code that you need to enter. Once you're there, you're going to find some information about what we have talked today, that it's also on the website. But the important part is that you can start to connect with people who are studying your same program. For example, if you want to connect with computer engineering new students, or from people from your own country. For example, you want to connect with other students from Pakistan or from Russia or from Azerbaijan or from the US. And if you're, for example, interested in, finding accommodation off campus, or cycling, in the city, or football clubs, then if you don't see the group there, you can also start to create your groups and find members who want to join and start discussing ideas of things you can start doing once you're on campus. Our buddies will also be joining our international student buddies will also be joining that group and helping and connecting with you through there. So that's one homework or one request that I have for you today after you finish the webinar, is to go right now and join the app. Okay. Finally, we also have a newcomers office, and Begum also mentioned this briefly. They are responsible for organizing the overall orientation program at Koç University for all new undergraduate students. And they have a specific website, which you can see on the screen, which is studentguide.ku.edu.tr. The first part of that long kind of website address that you see there, it's an overall student guide. So anytime you have any questions about how do I enroll into courses, how can I do a double major, what if my GPA falls below this, like all of the kind of questions you may have right now, they're all answered there. At somewhere in that website, you will find the answer to that. And there is a section for new students. I just put some images of the content that you can see on the website. You can see, for example, some of the presentations and films from last year. And then some of this will be, of course, updated for this year during the summer before September. UNIV 101 is part of that first, it's a year-long program of seminars and courses that you will be taking. So all of that will be explained there. Now, before we talk to our students, there are some things that I always want to emphasize to new students. First of all, the most important one, it is crucial that you check regularly your personal email address that you created your application form, and then later on your Koç University email address, because this is where you're going to receive all of the information about deadlines, notifications about things you need to pay for dorms or for your tuition, your selection of buddy, like everything is going to be sent via email. So it's very important that you check regularly your email so that you don't miss out on specific deadlines. If you miss a deadline, as I said, it is very hard for us to then help, because especially for dormitories, it's, there's more demand than supply. So we try to help as much as we can, but sometimes we hear students say, I didn't check my email, I didn't see it. And unfortunately, then we cannot do much. There are also some surveys that you're going to be sent by our newcomers office, so make sure that you complete those. One just very practical tip: if you're contacting any office, whether it's our student accounting team, dormitories, or international community office team, always make sure to include your ID number. So in that way, it's easier for them to find your information on the system and help you in a quicker way, so that they can have all of that information. We've had some questions already about whether classes will be face-to-face or online. Right now, and for example, this past spring semester that we have just finished, we had a hybrid format in that students could choose to attend classes face-to-face, or they could also attend them online. That may still remain in that way in September for the fall semester, but it may not. So that's why I put an asterisk that that's to be decided. So again, that would also be announced in the next couple of months. So by end of July, that should be clearer. So if there are some of you who think you may not be able to come to Istanbul physically in September, please know that the option of having to, coming or joining classes online may or may not be there by September, but please keep an eye on the announcements about this. Okay, so now, first of all, thank you so much, Begum and Mert, for your time here. I'm gonna check very quickly before we do the question and answer session with our students, if there are any specific questions related to ICO services or topics. So I'm going to check this very, very quickly. Okay.
I think there was already one that I saw about when they should start their visa applications.
Yes.
Maybe we can answer that. We usually recommend that you start 2 months ahead of time because the process may take longer. On Dream Apply, you should be able to see a visa form that you need to fill. Once you fill the visa form, then we will be able to create a visa support letter for you, but only if you require it. So there, for each country, there are many different requirements. You may not even need a student visa. You may come without a visa or with an e-visa. Therefore, please make sure to check that form. It has all the necessary links for what you have to fill or what you have to do. So if you have any questions though, feel free to reach out to us. We will help you as much as we can. But the sooner you get started on the visa process, the better.
Great, thank you. There's also a couple of questions. One was, can I get a bank account in Turkey if I'm under 18? No, unfortunately no. So
Sorry, I answered that
yes.
already.
Do you know, Mert, what do students do in that case until they're 19 or until they're 18, sorry?
They actually do not need that bank account most of the time, but if they do need, there are two options. First option is that their parents, both of them, can go to a notary public in their home countries, or if they're in Turkey already, they can go to a notary public in Turkey with a Turkish translator, and then issue a consent letter that they, as parents, allow the child to be able to open a bank account. Then it's going to work. Or they can simply use one of their relatives if they have here, or one of their close friends' accounts. But most of the time they don't need bank accounts. They can just use their home country bank debit cards or credit cards here, as long as they are open for international transactions.
Great, thank you. There was another question about availability of job opportunities for international relation undergrads, and you kindly answer in terms of like for any undergraduate student in a university in Turkey. This is not just Koç University.
Oh.
So the law states that you can only accept and do part-time employment, not full-time employment, and that can only happen after you have completed your first year of study, so 2 semesters. And Mert put in the answer the link to the ICO resources page that talks specifically about employment. In terms of your specific question about international relations undergrads, this is something that, for example, you would start to discuss with our Career Development Center. You are welcome to schedule a counselor and advising session with them even in the first or second week after you have started the semester, so that they can give you guidance in terms of what are the type of employers that that hire international relation current students, if that's your question, based on their experience, and whether there are internship opportunities, and whether which opportunities are for those that speak Turkish and another language, or those that do not speak Turkish but do speak other languages. So I think we have answered those questions. Let's check if there's any other questions related to ICO services that I can ask you to answer. Okay. I will be answering all of the other questions that are on the open Q&A after our student panel, because I really want to make sure we have time to, like for you guys to ask questions to them as well. For those of you who are raising your hand, don't do that because we are not able to unmute you. So please type your questions on the Q&A panel if you can. Now, thank you so much, Begum and Mert. I know you guys are very busy. If you need to leave now, I release you
Thank you
into
so
your
much.
Friday
Thank you for
evening.
having us.
No, thank you for
Please.
joining. And now I will ask our student panelists, and I'm going to introduce them, to please open your microphones and cameras. You should be able to do that. I'm just checking. I think I just need to make Kamala. Okay, so great. I see some of you have started to open your cameras. So we're very privileged today to have 4 of our undergraduate students. They are Elena Permekerli from Greece. She's a junior in business administration. She has been a great supporter of all of our team's activities. She's always giving us feedback on her classes and professors and activities. So she's a great, active student on campus, but she's her particular experience, I thought would be useful for some of you, because she has done a lot of her time online, first because of the pandemic, and hopefully she will then be joining us on campus next spring. We also have Aya Eloriachi from Morocco. She's one of our seniors, so I think you're the most experienced in the student panel today. She is a sociology major who is also doing a minor in psychology. She actively participates in research projects with some of our research groups in the Design, Technology, and Society program. So she's gained a lot of experience in research in that time, and I would love to hear about your experience in doing that, Aya. We also have Ms. Maya Jocelyn Velasquez Vela, a fellow South American, so I'm very proud about that. She's from Paraguay. She's a sophomore in our psychology program, and she's an extremely talented athlete who is a member of our women's basketball team, who has recently done very well in the National League. We attended some of her recent games, and it was very exciting. So thank you so much, Maya, for joining us as well. And last but not least is Ms. Kamale Karimli. She's from Azerbaijan. She's a sophomore in our molecular biology and genetics program, and has also been very supportive in our team, and has shared her wisdom as well in previous webinars about what it's like to study molecular biology and genetics. And I know there are some of you who are joining who have been accepted to our College of Science. So if you have questions about, the experience of being a science student, then Kamala would be a great person to ask. So I have done this very brief round of introductions, but I would like now to ask you guys if you want to say hello and briefly welcome, the group. If we start with Aya.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm really so happy to be here with you, because when I first started uni, it was just so stressful for me, and I came late to university, so I didn't get to meet any previous international students nor the new international students. So it was a very confusing and stressful period for me, and I felt like if I had other international students to talk to, then it would have really changed everything for me. So I hope I can help anyone I can help. I saw that in the chat, in the poll, that there were very few students in the
Social science.
so I'd be happy to answer any question, and even if it's not related to my major, I'd be so happy to answer. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you, Aya. Can I ask Kamala to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and answer any questions you have. I'm really excited to be here because a year ago, I was one of the attendees that attended this webinar, and now I'm a panelist who is here to help you. So please feel free to ask any questions you have.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamala. Maya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. First of all, welcome to our community. I'm really happy as well as the other um, members that are here. As well, we are here to help you if you have any questions, regardless of our major or any extracurricular activity also. We are here to help you to answer any questions that you have. And welcome again.
Thank you very much. And Elena?
Hi everyone, welcome. It's such an honor to be here. I hope that our community becomes even more inclusive, and I'm also here like my friends to illuminate life in academia, share with you my experiences, and if anyone has any questions about what it is to study online, I can also answer that. I have made some wonderful friends like Maya since the very first day of our previous semester last spring. And I've kept in contact with them through WhatsApp groups, through the university community, like virtual tools like groups. The professors have also made a decent effort to team us up so that we can meet people. And I hope that you really immerse yourself into this experience, the Koç University experience.
Thank you very much, Elena. So I will start to check the questions in the chat. There is one that maybe Maya can start to answer, but of course, everyone is welcome to also answer. From Natna Papit, are there any popular sports at the uni? And are Chinese shuttlecocks allowed? I've never heard what, I mean, I don't even know what Chinese shuttlecocks are, but Maya, do you have a kind of, do you think there are some sports that are more popular than others on campus, or what's your experience or your impression so far? I'm asking because you're in one of our sports.
Okay, first of all, I never hear about it. The Chinese cooks, I don't know to what is referring. But there is no really a popular sport to say it like that. But we have a lot of teams. We have even like the basketball, both female, the male one. We have also rugby for both, and as well we have the Coach Rams, that is also like the full American team that is also a varsity level. We have also another the volleyball as well, actually. Another sport that you can do on campus, but maybe they are not competing at the national level, but you can also join all the teams. And there are also some of them are also as a club, like at the students club, so you can join as well, and you can also do really good, make really good friends there.
Great, thank you. Have any of our other panelists joined any sports so far?
Yeah, maybe I can answer that also. So yeah, I don't think, I mean, there are the most popular ones, which I think are the ones where students compete nationally, but really there's a very wide variety of sports that you can join. I've joined the mountaineering club where we do a lot of rock climbing and wall climbing, and I think it's so fun. They also do bouldering. There are like other clubs such as Krav Maga club, kickboxing club, and yoga club, dance club. So many really, I don't even know all of them. But I mean, if you're into sports, I think you're definitely going to find your happiness. And I would really suggest, even if you're not into it, to join many of them, because I never thought I would like mountaineering or rock climbing, but then it became something that I really enjoy. And it's really a good way to make friends. So yeah, definitely try to join the clubs and athletic activities if you can.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other input on that? If not, I will move to the next question. So there is a very interesting question here. Is it hard to balance your personal and academic life? So I would like all panelists to maybe you give your take on this. Like, has it been hard? Yes or no? If yes, I mean, let's hear from you guys. Maybe this time we can start with Kamala.
This was one of my questions when I just started my university life. So what I can say is not always, but during the midterms, it was a bit rough because in our university, there is there isn't a week where you have midterms. I mean, you can have 3 midterms in 3 consecutive weeks, and then you cannot specifically go out very often because you have to get ready for those midterms. But before midterms or after midterms, it was easy for me to balance my social and academic life. That's not very hard.
Okay. Elena, what's your take on this? Because you're doing online, so you're not in the university, but yeah.
For me, it was a bit more difficult to balance my personal and my academic life. Since I was following classes online, I should be present, for instance, from 9 to 5 in the afternoon in front of the computer. I should keep track of the material. I should be attentive because, so sometimes our attention can be diverted if we are especially tired. So I need to make a lot of sacrifice. I gave up my sports. I gave up some personal time. In the weeks of the midterms, I barely had some time for myself. I couldn't relax. I couldn't spend time with my friends. I was constantly revising the material. Since I have to tell you that the course organization is quite dense, you should work meticulously with the professor. You should follow what they assign. You should keep track of the material on Blackboard. You're going to use this tool, Blackboard. It's very useful. They upload some course slides. They upload some discussion forum questions for you to be actively engaged in classes. So I guess that every activity that's organized would be helpful for you. But regarding balancing academic life with personal, I think that it's a challenge in our days. The classes are quite intense in nature, and you should constantly try to apply theory in practice, even if this means that you're going to do it alone at home and you're going to be ready for class. So this was an insurmountable obstruction that I faced, but I managed to surpass it with the help of counselors from the university, especially Miss Melissa, and our Alice class professor, Maya knows, she's a psychologist. She helped us a lot balance our lives with university.
Thank you very much, Elena. And yes, I know it's been a difficult year, but I also know you're going on exchange, so I want to then hear how will that experience compare to that. Aya, what about you now as a senior in those 4 years? Was it hard to balance academic and personal social life?
I think overall it wasn't hard for me. Overall, I always managed to balance both. It's as Kamala said, there are some periods where it's really harder. So midterms and finals period, those are the periods where I felt that it was impossible, for example, to go out. But that's a week in, I don't know, 2 months or something. And I've learned recently, way too late, I think, this hack about balancing my academic and personal life, which is basically just when you're enrolling to your classes. So when you enroll to your classes, you can choose the classes you enroll in, and most of them already have the exam dates, or if they don't have that, they at least have what type of exam they're given. So would it be essay, would it be multiple choice, and how many exams or midterms versus finals there are. When I started to actually look at the syllabus and pick my class accordingly, then everything just became so much easier, because I learned it the hard way one semester when I randomly picked my classes. Then I had 7 classes, and some weeks I had a full week of just exams and quizzes and everything, and it was really impossible. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to try this time to look at the syllabus. And after that, I think everything became so much easier, and I had a lot more time for myself and to hang out with my friends. So definitely, if I have an advice for you guys in the future, look at the syllabus, because it's really gonna make a difference in the way you can balance your personal and academic life.
It's a great tip. And yeah, I wish I also had that hack when I was a student to plan ahead. Thank you very much, Aya. Maya, what about you? How has it been so far?
Okay, first of all, as Aya mentioned and also Lena mentioned, to you, I don't know, I really suggest you to take the first. I know that there are some students that just postpone, for example, Alice class, that Alice is like academic life skills class that is very useful. I was being a peer leader for, it's like being a TA to say it, but you are helping the professor in that class with the students. Professor Pinar, for example, as Elena mentioned, she is a psychologist, and she really help you with all the manage all these skills. And I think that it will be very useful for you guys and really helpful as well if you join this class since the first semester, because you also will join and make a lot of international friends. Because as you know, we are kind of minority here at the school, but yes, you will start knowing more people, more international students. And as well, for example, this past semester that I have been a peer leader for this class, there were also some Turkish students joining us in this class. So you will also know, like, we'll be meeting these peoples like this. The second is, like, I will suggest you, besides also looking to the syllabus of every class, to look at the curriculum for your major. So you can also, like, because we have in the website, or in the official website of Koç, we have the curriculum for each major. So like, they also make you like some suggestion, you to take this class at this time, this class. So they are also, they know how to do it because it's also working with the register office, and they are the ones who are putting also like and they state the dates for the exams. So it will be very useful for you to look all of it, and then you can manage your life, I guess, your social life. But also, if you are joining a lot of clubs, don't do it. I will not suggest like that, and maybe you can just choose one or two of them. But also always prioritize your academic life, because sometimes we are like going more into this because you like it, and you are like just doing procrastination, and then at the last moment is the worst ever. So it's always prioritize your academic life.
Excellent advice. Again, as Elena was mentioning, yeah, it pays off. And I have to say that all of our panelists here are outstandingly academically good students. I mean, they all have GPAs very close to 4 or just below that. And yeah, so like they know what they're talking about when they're saying academic, and how they're balancing their academic and personal lives. So thank you so much, Maya, for that answer. You also, it's great that you mentioned Alice, so academic and life skills. Yes, that's a crucial, I think, course to take for all freshman students. There are some really interesting questions coming in. There's two that I will join into one, which is speaking Turkish a necessity to fit in with the majority of the student community at Koç Uni? And a follow-up to that, are Turkish people nice? It's a bit of a loaded question here. But here I will leave it up to you guys who would like to start with your answers. So, is speaking Turkish a necessity?
Okay, I think I can start.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, actually, it's a necessity. You will learn even if you don't want. There will be a way that you will learn, because you need to talk to the people who are working at the restaurants or the cafeteria. So these people just speak in Turkish. So you at least will say merhaba, kolay gelsin. You will ask for your food and you will be asking in Turkish. All the people, the Turkish people, most of them are really kind and also helpful. Even like, I have a friend, she went to one of these restaurants on campus, and she was asking to every student that was there to speak in English, like for her, to talk to the restaurant, at the restaurant, and also to us about the food, what was the food. And they were really helpful. They are very nice, and even like, they are also most the Turkish people, like the Turkish students, they speak English, between Turkish people. And also, if you are in I don't know, I have my friends, most of my friends are Turkish. We are talking in English most of the time, and then they are also saying to me some things in Turkish. So they are making you part of the conversation as well. It's not that they are just putting you aside because you don't speak Turkish. So, but I will say that you will need to speak Turkish as well, and it will be even easier for you because you will also do some work paperwork here, like your documents that you will go out of the school of campus and you will go and talk to these people, because you will not have all the time a Turkish friend next to you, so you also need to be independent.
Thank you, Maya. Any other takes on this question?
Yeah, maybe I
Turkish-
can give my take on it because I think I've had a different experience than Maya's. I do think that Turkish people are very kind, but I do also think that it is a bit necessary to speak Turkish. I mean, you can survive without speaking Turkish. It's just that your experience won't be the best. You do need it, so as Maya said, in the restaurants or with some people that don't necessarily speak English. But based on my experience, not all the students like to speak English. And I've rarely seen Turkish students speaking English between them. So sometimes it's really hard to blend in if you don't speak Turkish. Sometimes you might feel frustrated. This happened to me. I've often felt frustrated because everyone was speaking Turkish. Sometimes I wanted to understand something, but no one would be willing to speak English. So I don't know, maybe the newcomers, even new Turkish students are more, I mean, they like to speak English more, but my classmates, etc., they weren't like that. I did take Turkish in the first semester, and I think it was very, very helpful. We mainly learned very basic things, but I think it really made my experience better. And I probably wouldn't have survived without that little Turkish that I learned. I wish I learned more Turkish. I think it would have made my experience better. So yeah, I want to say that I mean, you can survive without Turkish, but if you have the opportunity to learn, definitely do so.
Thank you very much, Aya. That's, yeah, exactly. I think they're very mixed experiences on campus. But you may be pointing at something that the new students lately are also preferring to use their English skills. And I think we also have more international students on campus than when you first started. That may also be starting to make a difference. It's my guess, let's say. I want to ask Kamala, because Kamala, you're from Azerbaijan, so we always assume that for you guys it should be easy because they're similar language, it's two countries, one nation, all of this. Has that been the case?
Yes, it was, because I speak Turkish fluently and I didn't have any difficulty in blending in with Turkish students. But what I agree is, even in the class, I haven't heard that Turkish students spoke in English in between themselves. So maybe it would be hard if the others wouldn't speak Turkish. So it will be hard for them to blend in. So it's a bit of necessity to speak Turkish and understand it. But for me, it was easier, yes.
Great, okay. What about you, Elena? Through your online classes, for example, with your classmates, do you feel did you need to, I mean, so far, have you had to learn some Turkish or?
I am self-taught in Turkey since I was 10 years old, and thus Koç University occurred like a natural choice for me, exactly because I loved the Turkish language and I loved Istanbul. Exactly like Kamala said, I haven't heard Turkish students speak English in between classes. This is what helped me a lot to blend in with the community, and this resulted in this cross-cultural inclusion for me. I see that in WhatsApp groups, my fellow classmates prefer to speak Turkish, and I can follow, and I'm super happy because I can follow. I can also work our team assignments in Turkish. I don't have a problem with that. And this ease of use really makes me optimistic about the future, that I will be really fit into the community. Even if we need to sit in the cafeteria, even if we need to work in the library, I'm really optimistic that I won't face any such obstacles. I took a class in my very first semester, since it is quite compulsory for international students. It was really easy for me. I progressively advanced to the Turkish 403 class. And for me, it was half an hour studying throughout the semester to result in an A grade. But I was really enthusiastic about the Turkish language. I mean, language acquisition can really facilitate your blending into the community.
Okay. That's excellent advice. And As our colleagues from the International Community Office mentioned, besides the Turkish 101, 102 courses, they also offer, for example, Turkish practice hours. There's conversation circles organized by our Office of Learning and Teaching as well. And I think you guys have already answered another question that was there about whether it was easy to learn Turkish for everyday tasks. So I think your experience is that it has been okay. And of course, there are some languages where you have some commonalities and it becomes easier to understand the grammar. There is a question here. Is there a student union in the university? I think here we call it student council. And if so, when do you recommend running for student union presidency elections, first year, second year, etc.? Anyone has had experience? Have any of you tried to join the student council or no?
I have a friend who did, though, a close friend who did. I don't see the point of joining as a president or joining an important position unless you really have experience, because, I mean, let's say that we really do need those people in the student council. It used to be mostly Turkish students. Now I think this year there is 1 or 2 international students, I'm not sure, but these should be students that really have experience of our problems as international students. So yes, if you're really concerned about international students' problems and challenges and you want to make things better and you think you can, then do it. Other than that, it's not like it's not an honor or something. I mean, don't do it just because you want to do it.
Of the title.
Do it if you think you can make a change, I think, because we really need those people to make a change for us.
Great. Thank you very much. A very quick question. Does the KU movie club show movies on the weekends for those of you guys who are on dormitories? As far as I know, there's always some movie activity, but I'm not sure if on the weekends. Is that the case?
No, it's usually not on the weekend. It's usually after classes at night.
Okay. And what are the requirements to create your own club? I mean, there is information about this on the Dean of Students website under extracurricular and student club activities, but have any of you tried to start a club? No. Or do you know anyone of your friends who has started or tried to start a student club? No. Okay, so unfortunately that question we cannot answer today. Hopefully we'll be able to answer it. But the requirements are written on the Dean of Students website. I know you need to get some endorsements, like support from a faculty member, I think, and also to get enough signatures from students to show that there will be members in the club, and a plan of what type of activities you will be doing, and that it doesn't duplicate what an existing student club is already doing. So I remember those being the main kind of requirements or criteria. Great. Another question related to clubs. Are there going to be international clubs or clubs held in English this year? That's a very important, I mean, I will rephrase the question a bit. One of the ongoing challenges that we have, because we have heard this from our international students, is that even though we have a lot of clubs, there are also a lot of them that do most of their activities in Turkish. So have you had experiences of joining these clubs, or there's also, I mean, there was the International Student Club, then the members kind of, I don't know what happened there. So I think it's up to the students really to like activate some things. And any experience with the student clubs that you want to share?
I can go maybe. So there are some students clubs that are very friendly to international students, other less. Yeah, so it really depends. If you're interested in any student club, just join, because also the people change every year. So maybe 1 year they're going to be very friendly to international students, and next year not so much. From my experience, Mountaineering Club has always been a very, very friendly club to international students, because also every year lots of exchange students join. So for sure, I know this one is super international friendly. Dance club, I've heard that a lot of my friends have joined and they're happy with their experience. So really just join and see. also, we kind of need international students to join the clubs to make a change. So yeah, just go ahead, go for it.
Great. Thank you, Maya. All right, so there is a very important question. Is somebody who would like you to talk about your employment or internship experiences that you've had so far in your studies? Would anyone like to share if you've done any type of work or internship during your studies so far?
Maybe I can
I
talk
think it's you
again.
again.
No one will. So at first I was working at the admission office with Melissa, actually. It wasn't for a long time because then pandemic happened, but it was a really nice experience for me. But I can talk more about my experience doing research. So at Koç University, you can basically be a research assistant to either professors or PhD students. So, and depending on the professor or the student, they give you tasks of depend like of high or low importance. I don't know, but from my experience, the more you work with a person, the more they trust you and give you more responsibility. So that's how it worked for me when I first joined. I had like little tasks, but then I started to be more implicated in the process of making the research and conducting it, etc. It was really a great experience for me. I personally want to pursue a career in academia, so this is great for me. Also, it really helped me in my normal academic life. So I was so scared, for instance, of writing essays and these kind of things in the beginning. But then when I started doing my research assistantship, I was kind of exposed to this word of professional writing, etc. And so then writing became so easy for me, for instance. So I know that in every department you can be a research assistant. So if you're interested, you should definitely do that. And I think it's a great asset for you in the future, for your future career. As far as I know, for us international students, we can't be paid for work and study. I've heard that it's changing, but I'm not so sure. I've had some of my international friends being paid, but it really depends on the project and the department you're working with. But yes, there are lots of opportunities for you at Koç University. Just make sure you ask your professors. Don't be shy to ask them because usually they're happy to give you an opportunity to work with them. So yeah, I don't have an experience with internships, but I do know that at Koç, within Koç, you can do lots of things.
I would consider what you have done a research internship. So yes, that's still very, very valid. Now I have a question for Elena, because you're a business administration student. So Gunash is asking which skills might be useful for a business administration student. So what skills have you found have been that you have been using a lot as a business administration student?
Yes, besides business acumen, I think that the business person should be very fit to work with employees from all over the world. You're not going to work with only your nationals. You should tolerate change. You should be open to change. You should invite change in your company. And above all, you should be very, very flexible. You should work like in a cell. I don't know if you have heard the method of cellular manufacturing teams. This team draws from resources from all departments, all functional departments within the company. So employees from accounting, employees from manufacturing, employees from engineering, and they all come from different backgrounds. So it would be crucial for you to work in such teams. Some life skills other than that would be patience, would be communication skills, persuasion skills, time management above all, because you're not going to be left with huge margins to decide. Maybe sometimes you're gonna be asked to decide under immense time constraints, or convince an executive, convince the board of directors, bring the proposal which you would have been asked to work with your colleagues in front of the meeting, and convince everyone about the worthiness of the proposal. This is what I have to add, because I took part in research with a professor of mine last year. We were asked to convince our professor of engineering that our model of the 4K spring mechanism would work better than the other teams. And we did. We prepared this kind of newly launched patent, and we were trying to commercialize the resource. We haven't yet known how this all progressed because I haven't moved to campus. But if I move, then I might know the chance of this project. So I used such skips in there.
That's great, and that's a great
Above all, you
experience as
should be
well.
open to change. This is what I get. There are some new mega trends, the digitization era, the supraterritoriality thing. Everyone and everything becomes kind of interdependent nowadays. The economies, the societies, the triple bottom line that you should be revising very often in the business curriculum, how to take care of everything at the same time. So this is what I have to add as a business student.
Thank you very much, Elena.
Welcome.
I will expand the question to Kamala, because we do have here some of our admitted students into the College of Science. So as a College of Science and molecular biology and genetic students, what skills have you found that you're using a lot and that you will use in the future?
Well, it's important to know how to manage your time, because in the Department of Science, apart from the courses, or as we call it, lectures or classes, we have lab times. And each week I had personally in spring semester 2 labs. And for each lab, I was writing lab reports. And it's great to have some lab report writing skills ahead of time, and to know how to manage your time to submit those lab reports on time. So it's time management and lab report writing skills would be great, because, for instance, in school, I did write some lab reports, and it really helped me in the university.
Kamala, you were coming from which school curriculum type? Like
it was a Cambridge system. No, I had IGCC and A-level system.
Because we do have also in this group a lot of admitted students who are coming from A-level system type.
Yes.
So that's good. So you already had some practice and some experience writing lab reports, right? Thank you. Another kind of academic question. How does the Koç University grading system works? Is there an absolute grading system or relative grading system? Maybe, I'm not sure if this is a question for you guys. That information is on our student guide website, but if any of you want to comment on how was it for you to understand the grading system? Does it changes by course? If anyone wants to maybe offer a short answer to that.
I would answer that the grading system changes, as you have said, according to the courses we have. For instance, most of the math courses, they use the curve grading system. There is no definite letter grading system, and the scale, for instance, from 90 to 100, you get A or A+. They decide the curve grading system looking at the grades. And the curve grading system helps the students. I mean, you get a better grade than you would have if you had a definite grading scale. So it really depends on the professor's choice of grading.
Yeah, also maybe I can add that, for instance, in my department, sociology, we very, very rarely have curve system. It's always normal system. I think I've had only one class out of all the classes that I've taken that has curve. But also usually the grading system that you can find on the Koç website is the one that most, at least of my professors, rely on. But then again, there might be 1 or 2 points difference between each professor. And I know that, for instance, language classes have a higher higher requirements to give you an A, for instance. So yeah, it depends on the professor, but also the department. But for me, at least, it wasn't so different from the one that's on the website.
Okay, great.
In the business class, they also use the normal distribution grading curve. And some of my professors, especially this semester, just decided to offer some bonus points to compensate for any missed points or any missed chance, and pull the upper part of the curve towards the boundary of the 100. So one professor told us that the higher the mean, the higher the letter grade distribution, and thus the higher the histogram distribution. But it changes from professor to professor. I mean, the class also may determine the boundary. If the classes are vastly difficult, then the mean is expected to fall. Thus, the boundary is also expected to fall. And the passing grade may fall to 45 instead of the base, which is 50. So the range is quite dispersed in this case.
Just for clarification though, like you, for example, from all of your semester classes, then you have a semester GPA, which is on a scale of 4. So it's the same as an American
PSPA, the
system.
semester point average.
Yeah,
We have
exactly.
two values.
But then, for example, within each course, then you have exams and assignments in which the grading is to 100, right?
Yes, they give some weight, for instance, 25% of quizzes. If you take 5 quizzes, they're going to sum up the value of the 5 quizzes and multiply by the percentage weight. And this then is going to be added to the scale of 100. If it exceeds 100, it would be an A+. If it's between 90 and 100, it's an A. If it is 87 to 89, it's an A-, and then the range goes below the base in some case.
Thank you very much. I didn't know all of these details, so it's good to know from you guys. There is a question about exchange programs. The question was, is there a student exchange program? Yes, there is. We have an Office of International Program that they manage all of our mobilities or our Erasmus, which is within the context of the European Union member countries or outside of Europe. We call it global exchange. So they're asking which countries are available to study. A lot of countries. I mean, pretty much every country in Europe, and then within Asia, it's a growing number of countries in terms of China, Korea, Japan, and then Southeast Asia, Pakistan, India. In Central Asia, we have partnerships with organizations, with universities in Kazakhstan, in Azerbaijan. And then, of course, on the other side of the pond of the Atlantic, then there, of course, you can go to universities in the US, Canada, Mexico, several countries in South America as well. But the question I want to pose to you, did any of you did or will do semester abroad, like exchange during your studies? If you can tell us about your experience, did you apply and didn't go, or you apply and went, or you applied and will be going, then if you can share that experience. I think, Elena, this might be for you.
Yes, I'll be going into the vibrant city of Vienna in September. Hopefully I'll spend there one Erasmus Plus mobility exchange semester. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, it will be another experience. I haven't been other than touristic purposes in Vienna, so I'll be staying for a longer period. I'll be seeing how the civilization works there, how people are used to working, how people attend the university, what kind of change can I see in the teaching system, because I'm not sure that it will be same as Koç University. I think that the mentality is quite different because Koç University is more attached to American standards and they are more attached to European standards. So a bit more older school approaches I am expecting to see, but let's hope that it will be good. I'm in the process of gathering some documents, some preliminary documents, the OLS learning system agreement. I'm managing my health insurance at the moment, my accommodation options, I'm inspecting everything. And I'm really open to any kind of courses, even a track or a German language course, because I do speak German. Maybe I can divide it into half, 2 in English, 2 in German, and 1 again in English or in Spanish. They still offer a vast variety of courses like Koç University does in electives. You can specialize in one of your favorite courses so far. The strength of this university that I will be going to is the international accounting and taxation systems for the business students. And for the economic system, it would be macroeconomic policy, if I'm not mistaken. So I might be combining these two scientific areas together and hope for the best.
Yes, yeah, we look forward to hearing about it.
Sure, I will be more than happy to share my insights with you.
Great. What about Kamal and Maya? Are you planning on doing exchange in the future or not yet? You haven't thought about it yet?
Well, I think of doing, but not in the near future yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't really got into the process.
Okay. What about you, Maya?
I was thinking to do it, but I have another priorities right now. So I will be seeing this semester if I will be applying or I will change.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it takes planning because you have to apply a year before you go, basically, especially if it's
Yes.
in the Erasmus program. So yeah, you have to decide where and for which universities you meet the requirement and that they have a similar, curriculum, so that there is a bit of planning involved. There was a question here, are Turkish related courses like the Turkish history, etc., online or face-to-face? And are they taught in English or Turkish? So yes, there is a compulsory Turkish history course that I guess you all guys have taken, if I'm not mistaken. Can anyone talk about that course? How was the format? Was it in Turkish or in English?
I took it when uni was online, so for me it was online. The class is in English, and even for the Turkish names of the parties and everything that's political, they do give them in English, not Turkish. Some of my friends took it after the online system and it was still online, but I don't think it's going to be online anymore. Maybe even last semester wasn't, I'm not sure, I can't really answer, but yeah, I don't really expect it to be online now. Everything is becoming either hybrid or fully on campus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this class specifically is a very, very heavy course. So I don't recommend taking it in the first 2 years, maybe in the second year, second semester, you can take it because you will need to have at least an experience the grading system and experience working, studying at university. It's not something I recommend taking in the beginning. Yeah, so keep that in mind.
It's a great tip. Thank you. Has anyone, do you want to share your experiences with that course or?
I'll take it in my very last year. I haven't taken it yet.
Okay.
But I've also heard that it's a quite dense class in nature,
Okay.
as I have said.
What about the Turkish language courses? I mean, they have been, well, I guess during the pandemic, they were all online. But did you take any Turkish language courses this semester, for example?
I took in my very first semester the 2 Turkish language courses. The professor was excellent. He was very student friendly. The class was very smooth. He tailor-made the activities to the online system, the purely online system. For instance, he had replaced a written assignment with a video. He asked us to prepare a Turkish dish and present it in front of a camera, record it, and then upload it on Blackboard. So he customized every activity on the purely online nature of the class. He also used our third class hour as a question and answer session for international students if they had not understood something, if they wanted to clarify any obscurities that remained from the lecture hours. So he had separated the class into 2 hours of lecture and 1 hour of Q&A. So he was really good in adapting to the online modality. He swiftly and decisively used each tool at his disposal to help us. I was very happy with my Turkish class.
Okay. Thank you very much. There are a couple more questions, and there is one from Ali that has been upvoted several times about dormitory rooms. So I will open that into the topic of dormitories, and then I will close the panel session with you guys to then answer the more general questions. And I will release you also into your Friday evening so that you can enjoy that. So a very quick question, is skateboarding allowed on campus?
I think it is.
I think it is, yes.
It is. I have friends who skateboard on campus, but it's not very common though.
No,
when I came to Koç, I saw that video, the promotional video.
That was one of our students who skated all around.
Yeah, so I thought it would be such a huge thing on campus, but not many students do, but it is allowed.
Okay, great. And there was a question here, which is, if it's not personal, can you please share with us your SAT scores when you applied? But I know not all of you applied with SATs. If you did, would you like to share with Gunash, who's asking this?
Sure, I don't mind. Mine was 1,310, I believe.
Okay.
And mine was 1400.
Mhm. Great.
I am an IB graduate. I didn't take the SAT exam.
Yeah. No. So yeah, it
And-
depends on which exam type you applied with. So, yeah. But thank you for sharing, Aya and Kamala.
Mine was 13 something, but I don't specifically remember.
It's all in the past. Great. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's a very good question here from Emilia. Can you recommend any student-led YouTube pages to explore the uni more? I mean, when you were checking the university or afterwards, once you joined, are there any YouTube channels or people that you thought, I mean, from Koç University,
Yeah.
or if more in general about being a student in Turkey?
Yes, I can. Even my roommate was one of them. It was really a great coincidence. She was filming vlogs from her university life. I will write her YouTube
Mhm.
channel in the chat
Great,
if someone would like to look.
perfect. Thank you very much, Kamala. Anyone else that comes to mind, or any channels that you thought were useful, nice? We have our own, of course, university channel, but yes, I mean, it would be nice to know more about student-led pages. So the question, I want to finish the student panel. The question is it possible that I may not be offered a dormitory room? Yes, so that is a possibility. So for example, if because the housing team does have a priority system to give the first priority to students, to current students, first of all. And then to new students, and to new students who are coming from outside of Turkey, then those who are coming from outside Istanbul, and then from those who are in Istanbul, but in, very far from campus. So that's their order. There's an algorithm that they use to basically allocate rooms. So it is possible that you may not be offered maybe your first choice. They will do their best to give you a room, especially if it's your first year, but it may not be the room that you wished for in the first place. That's what to keep in mind. So the dorm room question I wanted to ask our panelists is, for those of you who are staying in the dormitory rooms, like what has been your experience, the goods, the bads, yeah. And for those of you who are not in dorms, what have been the pros and the cons, let's say?
Okay, I can start, I guess.
Mhm.
Since my first semester, it was wonderful. Actually, my roomies were the best. But I also heard from some friends that, for example, they have the roomies were Turkish students who were in the ELC program, for example. So they are quite learning English. So they just speak in Turkey. So it was kind of difficult for her to communicate with them. But at the end, they start communicating, and they were also really kind people. So I think it's like a luck, like it's out of luck to, because some in your first semester you don't know who will be your roomies, but then after a while, in the second semester, for example, you are staying with your own roomies. You are saying to them, okay, I will put your name, you can put my name, so you can still be with them.
There's a good tips, good hacks after you pass your first year. Thank you so much, Maya. What about Aya? Aya, you have a whole story on your page about your dorm. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I stayed in the room ever since I came here. I mean, except during the pandemic. For me, it was a really good experience. I think it's very comfortable to stay at the dorms because you don't have to think about so many things. You don't have to think about paying electricity bills or water bills. It's clean. There are cleaning ladies that come very often. We have washing machines and drying machines. I know that in main campus there are kitchens in every building, and I used to love that. But then I moved to West Campus, and there were only 2 kitchens in 2 buildings, not in every building. That was a bit of a sad experience. I really like cooking. Other than that, I mean, I think it's really great to be in the dorms because you don't have to think about many things, and if you have any problem, you can just call dormitory management. They fix it for you. I remember, for instance, our fridge broke one day and they just came and gave us a new fridge. So, you know, those many little things that maybe could stress you on a daily basis, you just don't have to think about them. So I think for that, dorm is great. But yeah, some people prefer having their own places, living alone, or having their own kitchens and or own spaces. But if you don't mind, I think dorms are a great place to be.
Great. Thank you very much, Aya. Anyone else who would like to contribute? Thank you very much, Kamala, for the two names you put on the chat. So those are good to know. There's one last question, which is very interesting. The campus is huge. Is transportation a hassle? Are we allowed to use bicycles? Yes, you can use a bicycle. But I see most students move around by walking. I mean, it is big, right? But have you ever been late to classes because you had, like, I don't think that's a problem, right? Okay, so yes, Abdul Rahman, you can use your bicycle on campus, but you will get used to walking a lot. However, using the bicycle from campus to go somewhere else, the road to the university, of course you can use your bicycle, but it's a bit hilly, so it's not exactly cycle friendly. But I know you can put your bicycle on the municipality bus that comes to campus and takes you to the metro station. So if you want to use your bicycle in Istanbul, you can do that if you're using the bus that goes to, the bus that comes into the campus. Okay, I think the other questions, I will be answering them because they're more related to requirements and yes, so yes, okay. So with that, thank you so much, so much again to our student panelists for today. They're really great students. We're extremely proud of them, and we know that all of you are going to have very bright futures while you're here, after you're here, in the long run. So thank you so much for giving your time today to help future students. I hope you do get to meet some of them once they join in September and afterwards. So with that, you're free to leave the webinar, and I will continue now answering other questions. So thank you so much, Aya, Elena, Kamala, Maya. Thank you so much, and have a great Friday.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we now have about 5 minutes, but of course it's going to take a bit longer than that to answer all of the open questions that we have here. So I will check some of them that I have not answered yet. In terms of which English exams you should give, if you prefer to provide an external English exam, you can see the list of eligible exams on the English Language Center website. So let me scroll back to that slide. It's sorry, just gonna move around this 1 second. Okay, let's find that here. Okay, so on the elc.ku.edu.tr website, you can find the list of eligible exams. These are the TOEFL IBT exam. The home edition is not allowed. Pearson Test of English, PTE, Cambridge Assessment of English, CAE, and there are some Turkish English proficiency exams as well. IELTS is not accepted, so if you have already taken IELTS as an exam, you cannot use it, so you will be invited to take the Koç English placement exam and then the proficiency exam. Is there an opportunity to accept the offer later than the 1st of August? So this can be done, but on a case-by-case basis. So you would need to send a specific request to our team email address to study@ku.edu.tr explaining why you would need to accept the offer after the 1st of August. The reason we want to be quite strict about the 1st of August to avoid problems in terms of the dormitory application, so that you have all of your ID numbers and everything before that, especially because dormitories is a process that if you miss the deadline, then as I said, we cannot help. But if there is a specific reason why you can't, please email us and then we will check with the registrar's office. There's a question, does Koç University offer from Taha, from if you offer transfers to European or American universities, what are the available universities? And could I transfer to from Koç for a semester or to transfer year? So we don't offer transfer years. You are free to, if you're not happy with your experience at Koç, which I hope is not going to be the case, you can transfer to whichever university you want. If you're referring to semester abroad or studying abroad for a year as an exchange student, then yes, of course, and we have talked about that with the student panel. I will type on the chat now the address of our Office of International Programs. It's OIP. I just typed it now. It's oip.ku.edu.tr. So in that website, you will find the list of all of our university partners, so other universities in Europe or in the US, for example, where you can go and do a semester or two of as an exchange student. And then you come back and you complete your degree at Koç. So basically all of the courses that you take at those universities will be counted in your credit load to then graduate from Koç University. So I hope that answers the question. Are there any internships offered by the university during summer or any time generally? Yes, there are. As Maya, one of our students who was in the panel, was mentioning, these are mostly research internships. So these are, time that you will spend with a professor in a center or a lab with their PhD or master students doing specific tasks. So those are the type of internships available. There is a separate program which is called the work study program, but that is only eligible for Turkish students because of the payment requirements of the program. However, there may be some administrative units in which you can work as an intern, and then they can check from their own budget if they can pay you for the internship or not. So during the summer, the HR department, they announced to all administrative units, they encourage administrative units to take on interns, both Turkish and internationals, to help them do specific tasks. So yes, there are opportunities. Okay. However, what I have to say is I have also seen, especially over the last 2 years, that our international students are increasingly doing more and more remote internships back in their own countries or in countries where they have a language advantage and that they don't need to physically be there to complete the internship. So that's a whole world of new opportunities that has opened up since the pandemic happened. If I don't get a question here, if I don't get a scholarship for my first year, can I apply again for it during the second year? No. So that's what I mentioned. Let's go back to that slide here. Yes. So if you did not receive a scholarship, then there is no procedure, let's say, to apply for a scholarship during the second year. This is why you need to discuss very carefully with your family whether you will be able to afford the tuition without a scholarship for the 4 years of your education. Similar question, is there a scholarship after each year for outstanding students? No, there isn't. If I'm awarded 100% scholarship, do I still have to pay the first semester? No, of course, because you have a full tuition waiver. So you will be marked on the system as ready for registration. And then what you just need to do is wait to receive your Koç University ID number with the password, and then you can complete your registration form and matriculation form. So if you have a full scholarship, no, you do not have to pay anything. There's a question about scholarships. So does this mean that medicine students don't get scholarships at all? No, actually, yes. So there was a change from last year to this year with regards to our School of Medicine, and that change, unfortunately, was approved after we had started the application process. So this is why you may have seen on our website that before we did have scholarships for medicine, that's not the case anymore. So all admitted students to our medicine program are admitted without a scholarship. There's a question about transcripts. When I bring my transcripts, should I bring the transcripts I submitted, or can I bring other copies in case I lost the originals or something like that? You do not bring physically the transcripts. You're going to upload them to the registration form that I showed. Let me show you here on the screen. Sorry. Okay, so here, this is our registration website. Item number 2, where it says upload your required documents. When you click on that button, that's going to take you to a form. And in that form, that's where you upload your transcript. So it should be your high school transcripts that you included in your application, but this time they should cover all of your years of high school, including your last semester of high school. So if you're in year 12, that should include all of your year 12 or year 11, according to the system that you're studying in. Now there's some questions about vaccinations. Should we get the booster dose in order to stay at the dorms? As of now, yes. So please assume that yes, it is needed. If it changes, then that will also be announced on our websites, and we will send a communication to all students to let them know if a booster dose is no longer required. I think it will still be required. We may all need maybe a 4th dose, who knows, but the best course of action to avoid any problems would be, if possible, to get a booster dose before September. Will it be okay if we only have 1 vaccination till September? Just to, what I just said, you need to have at least 2. So you should try to have a second vaccination before September. The check-in dates to the dorms should be either 17 or 18 September. So you should have had the second dose at least 14 days before that. So by the 1st of September. If there's a reason you can't, because for example, if your first dose was just recently, then that can be explained, but try as possible to have a second dose by September. A question about the English exam. Will we do the English placement test or QEPE on campus? Yes, so the exam is going to be on campus. So you need to be here to take the test. Can I waive the English proficiency test if I have been educated for 6 or more years in English? No, because the rules are about citizenship and not the language of instruction that you have been in your whole life. So as I said, I mean, the English proficiency test, it's the placement test and then the proficiency test, they just take 1 day. It's free of charge. So, if you have not included an English proficiency test, that's fine. Just come to campus and take the tests on campus. And they're not that different from a TOEFL test. You can see the structure and the sections on the website. It's very unlikely that any of our international admitted students fail the test because you already all have very high levels of English proficiency. So you shouldn't be too worried about that. Can we give TOEFL instead of QEPE? Yes. So if you have taken the TOEFL test already or will take it before September, then yes, of course, you just bring your mark Koç University as one of the institutions that can receive your test scores, and then send the request college, ETS, to send your paper test score report to Koç University as well. Another question about vaccines. There's a couple more here. Which vaccine exactly is needed? There isn't a specific one. I mean, so it could be BioNTech, it could be the Chinese vaccine, it could be the Russian one, it could be like Moderna. So there isn't a specific one that is needed. So any vaccine that you have is okay. What if my country doesn't provide the booster? This is a very valid question. So as I said, if you've had 2 doses of vaccination, but not the booster, then what dormitories and our COVID task force has offered is that you can sign a letter saying, I'm committing, it's like I'm promising you to take a booster here in Turkey as soon as possible. And once you have that booster, to provide the proof of that booster to the health center. So now in Turkey, it is possible for people that do not have residency yet. So when you first arrive, you may arrive with your tourist visa or an e-visa. So with that, you can go to a private hospital or a public hospital and receive a booster dose. You just need to make sure that you bring your previous vaccination certificate so that they can see what type of vaccination you've had before and when. Do Azerbaijani students need to obtain a visa? No, it's very easy for Azerbaijani students to come to Turkey. You just enter with your passport. Once you're here, as our colleagues from the International Community Office mentioned, then they will help you to apply for a student residence permit. But to enter, you do not need a visa. There's a question here about Turkish scholarships, Türkiye Bursları. Some of you may have also applied to that scholarship program. So Türkiye Bursları is going to release the results in the end of August, although I have to register until the 1st of August. What should I do? Okay, so that's a specific situation, and 3 other of you also asked or want an answer to that question. In that case, please email us to study@ku.edu.tr indicating that you have applied for Turkish scholarships. Indicate your application ID number on their portal, because we also wait to receive the list of placed students by Turkish scholarships just before end of August. So if you let us know that that's the reason why you're not accepting your offer yet, that's okay, because we can then corroborate that information with Turkish scholarships. So I hope that answers the question. There's a question about the price of one-person dormitory rooms. I didn't show the prices. The prices for the new academic year will be announced in July. However, what we can do is, let me briefly go to our dormitories website and I will show you what those are, and I will share my screen again. Let's do that. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. So this is our dormitories website. It's in English and in Turkish. All of our university websites, you will always find that they're in English and in Turkish. There is the dormitories fees page. So as you can see right now, they have the fees for the 2021-22 academic year. So for example, a single room in our main campus, that's the Rumeli Feneri, because that's where the university is located. That's the name of the road where the university is located. So a single room in the Rumeli Feneri campus is 35,100 Turkish lira for the whole year. So for 2 semesters, okay? And for example, a single room but with bathroom on the main campus is 46,300 Turkish lira. Those prices will increase because, as you may know, Turkey has experienced a very high inflation in the past, this year. So that will be reflected in, of course, in the tuition fees and also in dormitory fees. So you should expect this to increase in line with inflation or a bit higher. Those fees will be published on, as I said, on this website in July. That should be by the end of the second week of July. Okay. All right, let me check the other questions here. I hope we're all okay to stay a bit longer. We're running 10 minutes past our initial plan time, but I hope that's okay. There's a question about the Going app. How can I get the verification code to create a Going account? So let me show you again. What I'll do is I'll put it on the chat. It's very easy. So once you have I will put the link. Give me 1 second. Okay, so if you go to the link that I put on the chat, then when it asks you for a code, is that code that says 34858, okay? That should work. If it doesn't work, just let us know and we can send you again the link, and that should work then. Thank you so much for doing that, and you just download it to your phone afterwards. Are there any other vaccinations needed in addition to the COVID vaccines? No. I mean, to enter Turkey, it depends if, for example, if your visa requirements will mean that you need a visa, and they may ask for, well, as far as I know, they don't ask for any vaccination cards. It's always a good idea to be vaccinated against things that, that you get vaccinated from childhood. But there's no need, for example, for yellow fever or that type of vaccinations to enter Turkey or to stay in the dormitories. If you're going to be applying to staying in the dormitories, then one of the required documents, it's a health report. That health report should show that you have no chronic transmitter or no transmittable diseases, for example, like tuberculosis. So it's a report that can be obtained from a hospital in your country, then translated to English if it's not already in English, and that you then need to include when you are following the steps to do your check-in to the dormitories. When are the tuition fees for Turkish citizens going to be available on the website? I mentioned June 27th, so next Monday. So there's just a couple more days to wait. What is the fee for DENCLIC for the equivalency certificate? That's a good question. And unfortunately, I don't know what is the fee. I don't think there is a fee as far as I know. So if also, if you come across any type of advertisement from service providers saying we can obtain your DENCLIC and pay us this, I would say you really don't need to. I mean, it's a procedure that you can do. It may mean that you need to do some queues outside of the Ministry of Education office here in Istanbul. It's located in the Sultanahmet area, which is the historical quarter of the city. So it may be cumbersome in that you need to queue for a few hours. But I mean, it's, yeah, as far as I know, there isn't a fee for that. Can I apply for financial aid now, or is it only possible after the first year? No, there is no financial aid now or after the first year. The only financial aid is in case of extreme hardship. And then there is a specific application period and form for that, and that is managed by our scholarships office, which is under the Dean of Students. And that's possible during the first years, not necessarily after the first year. Okay. I saw that you have to access dorm application through KUSIS, that's Student Information System, but how do we access it without the KUSIS ID? So yes, you will receive your KUSIS ID before that. That's the order of things. So you will receive it in order to be able to log into KUSIS and then fill out the application, the dorm application form. Okay. Is there a credit system in place for A levels or IB classes? So can you get credits for your classes from high school? We do have a credit system in place for AP. So if you have completed AP courses in physics, then that gets you credits for our Physics 106 course. But other than that, there is no other credit system. It's something that we are starting to evaluate for the future, but as of now, it's just for AP classes. Are the engineering or science classes ABET accredited or something similar to that? So yes, all of our engineering programs are accredited by MUDEK, M-U-D-E-K, which is the Turkish National Engineering Program Accreditation body and system, and it is recognized by ABET as an equivalent accreditation to ABET. So that's the accreditation that most of the universities in Turkey have, not all of them, but the ones that do, for their engineering programs. What that means in practice is that if you graduate from one of our engineering programs and then in the future you want to complete a master's degree, for example, or a PhD degree in the US, that it's very easy, both because of the reputation of the university, but also because our engineering program is it's accredited by MUDEK, which is an ABET equivalent accreditation. Will there be any school bus services next year? Yes, there's already this semester, there's school bus shuttle services. They are coming from the nearest metro station called Haji Osman, and there's a couple more points in the city where they depart and then they go back during the day. This information will also be sent to you. I mean, you can see it on our website, on the new students website. Does everyone have to take an English placement test, or are there exceptions? The exceptions are if your citizenship is from an English speaking country, so US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and others. There's a full list available. Or if you already included an English proficiency test in your application form. In that case, you won't be invited to take the placement test because we already have that information on file for you. I think I answered that question. Okay. Will you be considered a Turkish student if you're international, but you have Turkish citizenship? I still don't fully understand the question, but in terms of tuition payment, yes, it means that you can pay your tuition in Turkish lira. In other ways, I mean, if you have a Turkish number, Turkish citizenship number, then for any other processes that may require that, then yes, you're considered, I mean, you're still an international student, but you get any benefits that there may be from having Turkish citizenship. There's a question, what is going to be the approximately yearly cost of studying for a student with a 75% scholarship, assuming I would reside in the 2-3 people dormitory rooms? That's a good question, and I need to put some numbers to that. But let's maybe go back to our screen where we have the presentation. We can go to the, okay. So if you have a 75% scholarship, it means that your annual tuition is $4,875. So you would add to that the cost of the dormitory rooms. I showed you what the current fees are. For example, for a three-person room in dollars, you could estimate around $1,400, for example, for a whole year. So you would add to that, it rounds up to around $6,000. We do have on our website, on the international admissions website, a section about living in Istanbul, and it has a very useful tool. Let me show you, or let me type it on the chat, that might be more useful. It's a website called numbio.org. It's not associated with the university, but it's useful for you to calculate what would be your cost of living based on, for example, if you are eating out every day, or if you are taking taxis a lot of the time, or, like depending on some lifestyle choices, it may give you a round idea of yearly costs that then you can add the tuition and your dormitory costs if you choose to stay in a 3-person room. There are no double rooms. There's no 2-people rooms at any Turkish university anymore. So just please know that. There's a question now about, let me just check the time. Okay. So I see still we have some people here that I hope these are your questions. Conditional offers, which are based on expected grades, affect the whole admission, or just scholarship is a predicted grade requirements are not met? No, it affects the whole admission. So if your final grades do not match your predicted grades, it means that you cannot enroll as a student. So you should make sure, or if you have already taken your exams, that your final grades will be the same as the one that you applied with, okay? Otherwise, you cannot enroll. If they're higher, for example, than your final grades are higher than your predicted grades, significantly, let's say, you may, and you think that you need a higher scholarship in order to study, you can email us, but there's not likely to be a change on that. We've had requests like this in the past, and these are sent to the college admission committees and to our vice president for academic affairs, but they don't really change their decision that much, because it's not based only on grades. I mean, it's based on the whole application information that they saw about you. Will the questions sent by email be answered now, or will the answer be through an email? So if you emailed us to study at, then yes, we will answer via email. Did new students for medicine earn scholarships this year? No, as I mentioned, there was a change in policy, so there's no scholarships for medicine from this year onwards. What percentage of the tuition should be paid until the end of August? So it's your first semester, so that's half. So 50% of your yearly tuition should be paid by the end of August. Can we transfer a tourist residency permit to a student? That's a good question, and unfortunately, I'm not versed on that. So I would kindly ask you to send that question. Actually, the answer to that is probably on the ICO website. So I'm going to type the website again here on the chat for our International Community Office. They have a whole page about the student residence permit with frequently asked questions. So I'm sure that's one of the questions and you can check the answer there. If it's not there, then you can email them. So I will type their email address on the chat as well. In here. Okay. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the Q&A session. So is Türk Bursları or Türkiye Bursları Turkish scholarships eligible for medicine? No. So that's the only program that it's not eligible for Turkish scholarships at Koç University is medicine. Will Koç University help business administration students find job opportunities after graduation? Yes, and this is how we help. As I mentioned, we have a very, very good career development center. And this is one of the teams that you're going to meet during the first week. In that orientation, they have a presentation about what support and what services they provide to students. So for example, you don't need to go and see them in your senior year when you're about to graduate. The idea is that you start meeting with them and getting advice from the first year, because it means, you know, they can give you advice on what type of internships you can do in your summers, what type of courses or elective courses you should be taking if you want to specialize in an area to get a job in a specific sector. So for example, if you want to work in finance after you graduate, then what are the type of courses and internships, networking opportunities that you should be attending. And what they also do is that they also bring a lot of employers to campus, either virtually or face to face. So they do, for example, careers in finance, careers in consulting, careers in public administration, careers. I'm just talking about ones that would be maybe relevant for business administration students. So they do a lot of events where you get a chance to hear from experts about their career paths, what they did, what they didn't do, what advice they have. You get to network and meet these people. And the other big kind of opportunities through our alumni network. So once you graduate, you join the Koç University alumni network, and they're working everywhere in Turkey and outside of Turkey. And they also do networking activities. There's ways to connect with each other as a kind of private like LinkedIn system that we have for our alumni. And that's also a very good way to find good job opportunities after graduation. Okay. So someone asking about, again, the application procedure for dorms. So yes, you will be able to apply for dorms in August after you get your email and ID, and you pay that, yes, the pre-enrollment deposit. Yes, that's correct. Can you apply for a financial aid after paying the first semester tuition payment? No. As I said, the scholarships that you receive in your admission offers are final. So that won't change after paying the first semester tuition or after the first semester. There's a question. I'm an American citizen, but I completed my high school in Turkey. Do I have to take the QEP exam? I would ask you to send us an email, because in your case, it may be that you are renouncing your Turkish citizenship, so you may be exempt from taking the QEP exam, but we need to double check this with our English Language Center and our registrar's office. But initially, in theory, yes. Can parents visit dorms and campus before the semester begins? Yes, absolutely. So starting from this month, we have a whole month of kind of open campus activities, mostly for the Turkish students. So they also come with their parents, and there's guided tours. These are in Turkish, but if you want to come with your parents, or your parents are just in Istanbul before September, yes, they can email us and we can schedule a campus visit and answer their questions. So yes, we can do that. I hope they do. How much is a single room with bathroom price approximately in dollars? So I'm not let's check. Let's actually check. But as I said, the prices that are available on our website right now are for the current academic year. So the new fees will be published in July, so there will be an increase on that. So for example, your question was for a single room with bathroom. So let's check. I'm just literally Googling the exchange rate right now because it has been changing a lot. So, okay. So to answer your question, that would be approximately $2,670, so $2,600 for a year. Okay. Will a second-year student who has a scholarship for medicine will lose his scholarship? I don't know how. I mean, the only way to lose a scholarship is if you fail academically and that your GPA goes below a certain minimum and for more than 2 semesters. So there are some conditions that would need to happen in order you to lose the scholarship. Otherwise, no. If the tuition fees increase during the study, do we have to pay the increased fees or it stays the same? Is there a possibility that tuition fees increase? Yes, there is a possibility that tuition fees increase. The thing is that if you're paying in dollars, so if you're paying in dollars, they may not increase. If you're paying in Turkish lira, then there is an increase usually every year in line with inflation. And as I said, unfortunately in Turkey, we have had experienced a very, very high inflation rate this year. So that will be reflected in the new academic year tuition fees, and the year after, we don't know, but every year, yes, there is an increase in fees. However, if you're paying in dollars, then that's not the case because it's usually then about the same as the Turkish new fees. I have studied in international school for 11 years. Do I have to take English proficiency language test? If your citizenship is not of an English speaking country, then yes. But as I said, taking our own placement test and our proficiency test shouldn't be a problem because you already have a very high level of proficiency. So it's just something that will take a bit of time for 2 days and then you forget about it. Okay. So with that, I think we answered 70 questions. That's amazing. Thank you so much for all your questions, really. With that, we have reached the end of today's webinar. Thank you again for those of you who stayed until the end. I know it's a Friday evening, maybe where you are, or maybe very early, maybe very late. Thank you so much. And you will be receiving the recording for the webinar by Monday. It will be an unlisted YouTube video and you can watch it anytime. But as I said, if you have any other questions, you can always contact us to study. I will type it on the chat once again. And yes, I hope it was helpful. Thank you for your messages now on the chat. If we didn't answer any questions, I'm sorry, but we can do that over email later. And of course, my biggest wish is to see you on September here. You have all been extremely, you're all extremely talented people to have been chosen to join our university. And we really are eagerly looking forward to welcoming you. So have a very good weekend and hopefully we'll see you in Istanbul soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.